Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. One more session of his Nama Sankirtan. An evening filled with the divine name and Shakti. What more can we ask for? With deep, deep gratitude, let us submit our grateful pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Today morning, when I came here, the mind drew a blank. Though I went through so many things, so many experiences of devotees, this morning nothing stayed in mind, and I prayed to Bhagwan to give me something that I could narrate. Every day I pray to him, and then whatever I get after that, I come here and relate. Today it drew a blank. I was at a loss to know what to say. And then when I came and sat here, it began to flow. There are some experiences through which Bhagwan could give us a very valuable, significant teaching, especially if we are prepared for it. I remember coming to Bhagwan. In those days, I could not keep away from Bhagwan, though I was teaching in the college. And I was teaching something some people would call drab, physics. And after I met Bhagwan, the experience that he gave me became one with him. I began to identify Bhagwan with experience, and the mind began to crave for that. Almost every weekend, I could not keep up, felt it was a nuisance to him, but then kind, so kind was he. He would open the door and point out a place near the gate and say, "Okay, you come so often for my comfort. It's okay, you sit here, and the minute this beggar tells you to go, you must leave." Of course, what else could we do except obey? Even at a distance, a glimpse. There were many, many times he would simply send a word from inside saying he was too busy and I could go. There were times when he would come out himself and say he was too busy and I could go. Sometimes he would ask me to come inside and be seated near the door. In any case, my coming here to Tiruvannamalai, to have him, to stand before his house, was enough and more for me. The very fact that I was able to breathe the same air that he was breathing was enough. So helplessly, I was coming too often for his comfort. And once, when he was kind enough to allow me to be seated near the gate, and he himself was sitting down on the stone step near the wooden door, I saw a withered flower, a rose flower, but well withered. When Bhagwan allowed me inside that day, made me sit near the door, I spotted a withered rose in a corner next to his seat. And then my stream of consciousness began to move. I remembered I was already 34, a little too late to come to a great master like him. Because I had read in Ramakrishna literature, Sri Ramakrishna Bhagwan saying, we should catch them young. So I was regretting my coming late to him in life, and that I compared myself with that withered rose and feeling self-pity. We do not know why and how things happen in this life. But surely, no choice. And here I was just sitting and looking at the flower, thinking how late. And Bhagwan had no expression at all on his face. He was just looking out. And then, all of a sudden, his hand began to reach out to this flower. He took it in his hand and started to smell. I looked at him in wonder. He was breathing into the flower. He smelled and smelled, and I felt he was breathing into it. He was breathing life into it. Though, of course, I could not see the flower very well from my angle, but I felt his smelling the flower had a certain purpose. Now that day, just before he left me, he called me near and then dropped this flower into my hand. Just imagine, when I looked at the flower in hand, it was fresh and smelled very nice, and I could not believe that it was the same flower that I saw in the corner, withered, and was almost gone. Then I knew that he breathed new life into it. I was so happy to have received that. I knew it didn't matter anymore that I came late at all to him, and that he would give me a new life altogether. a fresh one with a sweet smell, which is fit enough to be offered at the lotus feet of the deity. I understood we did not have to worry at all. It was enough to arrive at the lotus feet of our Gurunath, Gurudev, and that was all there is to it. The rest would be seen by him. It is his problem that we came late, because when, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, when we come young enough, it would be easy to shape us, because the stain of the world, the life was yet to be stained by the world, and there were few samskaras from the world. The mind would be relatively pure and ready for any impressions. In fact, the teenage is the impressionable age, easily. But then, whether you come young to a great master or late in life, it does not matter. He could still inscribe the divinity upon the fabric of our soul. Such is the power and grace of the Guru. I learnt that day it did not matter to me at all that I came late to him, that he would make the best of me. It applies to all the people. No matter how late we may come to him at the age of 60 or 70. Arriving at the lotus feet of the Guru is all that matters. There was another time when I was living, we had built a new Sudama, which was graced by Bhagwan on the Griha Pravesam day. He came in the morning, early morning, 4:45, and stayed on till 6 o'clock, blessing the whole place again and again. After that, I had to live all alone there. The other sisters joined me 1 year later. But they used to come every weekend. So we fell into a conversation, and I was saying something to them. A lot of blah blah. Yet, it seemed to make some sense, and forgot all about it when we reached his door. The mind was all eagerness for his darshan, and then he called us inside. When we were seated, there were already 2 or 3 malas on his neck. After some time, he took them off, put them down on the floor. And a few minutes after, he took them again and garlanded himself. And few minutes after, again he would take them off, put it down. A few minutes after, he would take it and put it on his neck. Now this he repeated, this strange gesture was repeated several times, maybe 12 times or something. It seemed very, very strange. This repetition of the gesture must surely be meaningful. Why would he do that? What did he mean by that? My mind would not rest. I began to explore, and suddenly It came to my mind that day morning when I was talking with the other sisters of Sudama. I was telling those people, just look at the varieties of life, the varieties of the plant kingdom, the varieties of animal kingdom, the varieties of human beings. Same two eyes, 2 ears, a nose, a mouth, and the limbs, but yet each human being looks very different from the others. There is no repetition. Even identical twins may look identical superficially. There would be surely many differences between them. Because the infinite never repeats itself. Every time it manifests, there is something new. Otherwise it wouldn't manifest. It is ever fresh, ever new, ever creative, and infinite in nature. Look at the ocean. Look at the sky. Look at the stars, the mountain. Just take the ocean. How deep, how vast it is. And look at the surface, the waves, how they raise themselves and then subside ceaselessly. Everything around is a wonder. Everything is magnificent. And I was telling these people, I drew their attention to such details and was saying, the Parabrahman creates as Brahma and protects as Mahavishnu and destroys the whole lot as Rudra, withdrawing the whole creation into itself. Just like the children on the seashore build castles with the sand, and then when the time would come for the parents to leave and they would give a call, and immediately they would destroy that and run after their parents. It doesn't matter to the children that they built this with so much care and attention, and now they have to destroy it. They have to go after their parents, and that's all that mattered. Immediately they would destroy and run. So I was telling them, the divine, just as we all string flowers and make a garland out of it, the divine also strings its own created manifestations, the varieties of manifestations, into a garland. And then it puts on the garland, enjoys the sight of it, enjoys wearing it, enjoys its own beauty. And then it removes. It looked to me that the entire creation with its varieties, infinite varieties, like a garland on the neck of Lord Krishna. Doesn't Lord Krishna say, Matta paradaram nanit kinchitasya dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam bhoktam sutre maniganaiva. So I was remembering that, and I was saying again and again, look, our Bhagwan makes a mala of all these varieties of creation. He puts it on his neck as a garland, enjoys, rejoices in his own beauty, and then he gets tired, and then he removes it, throws it away, only to create a new garland again. Everything in nature, the ocean, the mountain, the stars, the sky, all the plants, all the animals, all the beings a Katamba mala. And then, as he was describing it, I also wondered what beauty it's all. The play of consciousness, the play of God, how He delights in His own creation. And suddenly, when this came to my mind, I knew then, in a flash, that Bhagwan was demonstrating that. He knew how I described the entire creation, sustenance and destruction, as a play of God who would delight in that. And in appreciation, in approval of what I said, that Bhagwan was demonstrating. He would wear the malas, a few seconds, put them down, and again he would garland himself, would stay put for some time, and then he would remove and put them down. I knew in a flash it was his way of saying that that was true. In a small gesture, what a revelation. The profound becomes so simple in their demonstrations. All these demonstrations are Leelas, and they are His love for us in action. I was absolutely delighted, overwhelmed, that He knew what we were discussing in Sudama and picked up this particular idea, played it through a demonstration, in approval, in appreciation of what I said. What a revelation! What a demonstration! What a gift of grace to me. There was another time Bhagwan taught me about giving. What exactly is giving something to somebody? Dhanam, we call it. I have already described all these details before in another session, so we wouldn't go into them. But we would come to the part where he taught me something, an unforgettable lesson. He started the session with a story. The previous day I had taken an ashtray, bought a new ashtray, and when I submitted at his feet, I should have kept quiet after that. He would have naturally accepted it. But then I had to remind him 2 or 3 times. It was impertinence on my part to do so, but then ignorant fool that I was. I committed this mistake 2 or 3 times, not knowing it was not to his liking. Finally, when the session was over, he called me and dropped the new ashtray into my hand, saying, "You keep it with you." You can imagine my plight. I started to cry then and there, took it all the way to Sudama, and the whole night I sat and cried. I remembered the mistakes that I made, drawing his attention now and then to the ashtray with the hope that he would start using it. Because in those days he was using only a small cup, an old aluminum cup, which must have been green once upon a time, but it looked so pathetic. There were only a patch of green here and there. But when he dropped it into my hand, saying, "You keep it with you," It was terrible, a terrible blow for me, and I reeled under that. But the next day, with the swollen face and the eyes, when I went for his darshan, he started to tell a story. He said he had been to Arunachaleshwara Mandir. There was so much crowd there, the men standing on one side, the women on the other, but each one had a plate of offerings and a mala. So the pujari got very busy. He would come and take the plate and the mala from one person, put the mala on Arunachaleshwara, would do the puja, and then take off the previous mala, bring it over to this person. So every time people gave the plate to him with the mala, this is what he did. He would put the fresh mala on Arunachaleshwara and remove the older one and bring it to them, return it to them. There was one man at the end of the queue, at the end of the line. He had a very beautiful mala. All others had bought malas from the shops. They all looked alike, small and not very beautiful. But his was very different. He must have taken pains to make it or get it made. It looked so beautiful, so perfect. And this man was watching the whole show. So when it came to his turn, he looked at the pujari and said, "Look, I saw what you have been doing all along. Now this mala, I want you to put on Arunachaleshwara and not remove it to give it to anybody. I want this mala to be on Arunachaleshwara. Please don't remove it. Don't give it to anybody." As soon as he said that, the pujari's face changed. There was such anger. His face was red with anger. And then he shouted, he said, "Oh, you are putting conditions on the offering to Arunachaleshwara. Arunachaleshwara would not accept it if you put conditions like this. Once you offer it to Arunachaleshwara, it is for him to do what he likes with it. You don't put any conditions. And if you put any conditions, I refuse to take it. I will not put it on Arunachala." Bhagwan came up to this and then stopped. And then he said, when you offer something to somebody, once the offering is over, everything is over, you have no more say in the matter. Whomsoever you offer to, they have complete freedom to do what they like with it, with the offering. You have no business to put conditions, to instruct them to do like this, to do like that. Once it's gone from you, it becomes his, and you have no say in the matter anymore. Otherwise, it's not giving at all. So when he finished, I knew, once again, a revelation to me, because I understood what is giving. Once you give something to somebody, there ends the matter. And you have no more right over it, no more say in the matter concerning the offering. What a revelation. How he taught. This time, it was no simple demonstration through which he taught me this great lesson. It was a very painful event for me. something I could not easily accept. But once he explained through a story indirectly, I understood the blunder I committed. I remember in one of the songs of Meera, she says, "Jahan bethave, tithe hi baithon, jo dekhave, uthe hi khaavon, बेचे तो बिक जाऊं, जो पहनावे सो पहनो, बेचे तो बिक जाऊं." She says, wherever you put me, I shall stay there, I shall stay put. Whatever clothes you put on me, I shall wear that happily. And whatever you put in my plate, only that I will eat. And at any time, if you should choose to sell me, I will go begging happily. She cries her heart out saying that, "Krishna, you do what you like with me. I have offered myself to you. And whatever you do with me is perfect, fine with me. I cannot question that." What surrender? So I understood, and I think it's for all the devotees. Once you come to the great master, taking refuge at his feet, that is the end. That is all there is to it. The rest will be seen by him. You have no more dictates. You cannot dictate to him what to do with you. It would be no offering to him then. Many of us have so many expectations from the great master. When something goes wrong, how we cry out, how we blame him. We talk about surrender. I remember in Sudama, Bhagwan used to get letters and he would ask me to read out while he was smoking. And in the beginning, in the very first paragraph, the devotees would write, "Bhagwan, you are everything to me. I surrender everything to you. Everything is yours. I have surrendered my very life, my very being at your feet." And then in the very next paragraph, they would start saying, "We have started to build a house. Please bless us so that we complete it soon. My daughter is still unmarried. Why are you doing this to us? Please bless her to get married soon. Please arrange for a bridegroom. My son is unemployed. Please give us employment." And then Bhagwan would laugh and say, "Devaki, see how they have surrendered to this beggar. What have they surrendered? They have surrendered only their problems to this beggar, not themselves." And he would laugh. So this was another lesson I learned. There was another time, this time he called me inside. Some people had come and Bhagwan was busy making conversation with them. And this time, unusually, he was sitting in the chair. And then he called me, asked me to fan him. For nearly 15 minutes, I was fanning him, standing by his side and fanning him. And then I was thinking, this is okay. Today you are giving me this great opportunity to serve you. But Bhagwan, let me become you. Please give me self-realization. This is something that I used to pray for. And that day, Bhagwan wanted to put an end to that. So after this, he took the fan from my hand and said, Devaki, you have come to this beggar. Leave everything to me. Don't ask for anything, even for self-realization. It's enough. You have come to me. The rest is with me. I was startled, but then the lesson went deep inside. I knew that once we offer ourselves at the feet of the Guru, we have no more rights over ourselves. Our life is what he runs. The details of our life, what he chooses, that is surrender. Surrendering to the will of the divine, to the will of the Guru, in itself is very difficult. But once we want to surrender and we tell him that we are surrendering, then we have no right to ask for any particular thing. It's up to him to give or not. He knows the best. Even though Bhagwan is not in the body anymore, he is very much present everywhere. There is vibrant presence of Bhagwan. And for those who call out, cry out to him, there is a ready response from him. Now he is running our lives. What our life brings to us now is what he chooses for us, what he gives us. And we have no right to question it, nor have we any right to dictate what he should do with our life. We have arrived at his feet, and it's up to him to do what he likes with us. There ends the matter. What a lesson again. Every time, through a small demonstration, he taught me a profound, lofty truth. There is so much to learn. When you think back your own experiences with Bhagwan, you will know what teaching lesson it contains. And it's very important that we go through it again and again until we find this. Surrender is exactly what Meera says. Even if you sell me, I have no objection. I will just have to go with whoever you sold me to, begging. That is surrender. Very, very difficult to get it. It takes a lot of practice, sometimes janmas, to perfect surrender to the will of God from moment to moment to moment. Yet, we have to do it someday or the other. And then only Purnatva will come. If the great master should say, don't even ask for Purnatva. You have come to me, and that's all there is to it. The rest is with me. I can do what I like with you, and you have no right to question or dictate. So let us remember, let us contemplate on this lesson that Bhagwan taught. And this Bhagwan is here right in front of us with his hand raised in benediction, a smile on his lips, and eyes sunk in deep samadhi. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again for your immediate divine intervention to free the entire world, the humanity, from the clutches of this virus, this virulent virus, this tiny, that holds the entire world in its grip. Kindly remove the panic from the hearts of people and stop the spread of the disease, and enter the vaccine so that it would work to kill the virus once for all. And Bhagwan, all those great people, the action men, the soldiers who fight the disease in order to save other lives, please give them protection and all-round well-being. We beg you to give a boost to the falling economy, and above all, constant remembrance of your name and the lesson that once we have arrived at your feet, that is all there is to do, and the rest will be seen by you. And whatever you give in this life, whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, is what you have chosen for us, for our life's spiritual journey, for our pilgrimage through life to perfection. Knowing that, being aware of it all the time is sadhana. So we beg you for that grace, that supreme grace,